Hello everyone, welcome to the Doctors Running Roundtable, where we, normally three doctors of physical therapy, talk about the art and science of the things that we put on our feet. Today it is just me doing a video review of the Nike ZoomX Invincible Run, or I should say a video review of why I'm returning these. So the Nike ZoomX Invincible Run is in a men's size 9, a 9.3 ounce daily trainer, or slightly lighter weight daily trainer that Nike debuted some time ago, and we had many requests to review this shoe. What's unique about this is it's one of the first Nike daily trainers to feature full-length ZoomX along the entire length of the shoe. So heel, midfoot, forefoot of the sole, this is all ZoomX. People have been asking for this for a while. There's been some shoes that have had partial amounts of this. The Turbo, the Pegasus Turbo is one of the shoes that have that no longer exists, and some other couple ones, but people were asking for ZoomX in a daily trainer. They didn't just want to have it in, say, the Vaporfly or Alphafly. So this shoe was debuted, and again, it is kind of building, from what I understand, on shoes like the Infinity Run, and Nike's continuing to use a little bit more rocker almost profiles, some heel clips back here, making some claims about injury reduction, which is very suspicious, and I won't go into the research they've done on this, but it's definitely, as far as I know, has not been published because it's not very good, but that's a whole nother discussion. So I'm returning these. This is one of the few shoes that we do get a chance that I purchased this personally from Running Warehouse. Not all the shoes on the channel are sent to us for free, and when we do have stuff sent to us, or we do buy it, we have the same protocol, meaning if the shoe isn't working for our biomechanics, we're gonna let people know and probably either return it, or, you know, if people send it to us for free, we will review it. If it doesn't work for us, we're gonna talk about why it didn't work for us and why it might have worked for somebody else. So yeah, this shoe didn't work for me. It actually caused me pain, but it's the kind of shoe that's not going to work normally with my biomechanics. Since this was a personal purchase from Running Warehouse, I will be returning it. I have attempted to do a couple runs in it, and just there's a couple things here that don't work for me stability-wise, as well as don't work ride-wise. And I want to encourage you, again, that we have honest reviews here, and we'll say when something does or doesn't work for us. And what I hope the lesson is here, that you understand that not every shoe is going to work for every person, and that's part of this website's goal, is to help you understand what works better for you. That's why people ask me, somebody just asked me the other day at a track meet I was working at, going, hey, what's the best shoe? And like, it doesn't exist. There might be a better shoe for an individual person, but there is no global overarching best shoe. It just doesn't exist. People are so different. So while this shoe didn't work for me, it will probably work for a large number of people. The ride is incredibly soft, right? It's full ZoomX. There is no carbon plate in here, so obviously not a ton of stability here. And there's just a ton of cushioning. It's very high off the ground. It's definitely in your kind of more maximalist-esque kind of category. And there's definitely a rocker here. One of the challenges I had is that there's a lot of material in the heel. So the posterior flare, as you can see, we talk about this, is massive. And although the heel bevel comes about where the heel should be, approximately underneath there, this is a chunky heel, and every time I'm more of a heel striker, so every time I hit this, it felt like I was being massively pitched forward. There's a lot of cushioning back here in the heel, so if you like that, this is definitely a shoe for you to check out. So very soft. The heel clip did irritate my heel just a little bit. There is a heel counter in here, but it is cushioned fairly well with this heel collar, which is fairly thick. This huge thick heel that causes an early initial impact transitions into a softer midfoot, which for me again didn't work because this thing is so narrow and so unstable. I pitch way forward every time I landed this. There is no resistance here at all to any external motion, which again, it's a neutral shoe, so you wouldn't expect that. So those people with stability needs, definitely not a shoe that you should consider looking at, but those who don't need that, definitely a shoe you should if you're going to progress this outside. When you get to the forefoot, I was really amazed that it was firmer than I was expecting. I don't know if that's because I'm rolling off through and like putting more pressure through the late stage right here, but it's still soft, but it's definitely firmer and less chunky than the heel. So nice toe off, not a ton of flexibility given how thick the shoe is, and there's no real flex groove, but you get that nice toe spring that does roll you forward here. So forefoot is actually somewhat nice. Again, not the most stable, but if you don't need stability, the shoe is going to be great. And if you like softness, this is going to be the perfect shoe for you, and especially if you like ZoomX. Now the upper Fits very snug. I was expecting a little bit more quality based on the type of upper here, but it didn't provide enough room for me. It didn't really stretch, and even though I did try wearing these around for a while, it didn't stretch, and it's very a more snugger fit. So those people with more narrow feet are really going to enjoy this upper. Those people with more wide feet, this may not work for you. I mentioned in one of the comments that somebody asked on YouTube that when I put this on, the combination of the clip and the narrow fit actually started giving me some compression, I think, on my peroneal nerve. So I started getting numbness in a certain distribution, which that's always a big no-no. If I start getting numbness right away, that's not a great sign. So that's usually a sign that shoe's probably not going to work for me. That did go away, so know any of you who do enjoy the fit of this shoe and ride, that went away fairly quickly, but it was just one of those concerning things where if your foot goes numb wearing a shoe, that's not good. That usually means nerve or vascular compression, nerve or artery compression, so not good. So again, not working for me. Very soft, kind of narrow fitting shoe, but if you want ZoomX in a trainer, this is it, right? They've done a decent job with making basically an infinity run with ZoomX. My comments though on this is just not stable in any form. The heel clip doesn't really do much in my opinion, because if you put a stability method on top of a really soft sole, it defeats the purpose. We've talked about how stability shoes that are super soft really aren't very stable. So, and that's why our concept of stability needs to change. But again, durability, this stuff, like, this is going to last probably a really long time. I've already got some reports from people who have taken this longer distances that this lasts a long time. So ZoomX, this is going to last a while. The ride is going to change very quickly, being this is ZoomX, and this is based on my experience working with several patients who have this shoe and have taken longer distances. So it does flatten out, but the ride changes over time. So overall, not a bad shoe, just not a shoe that works for me. So I will be returning this because it doesn't work. It was not sent to us for free. If product is sent for free, I will run it. I did get some anterior knee pain, which is a huge warning sign because I almost never get that, but I suspect that's because of the large posterior heel flare, so I was hitting very early, and just the instability here, so getting a little bit of like patellofemoral issue. But again, it didn't last at all. Just stuck around for during the run, and so I decided, yeah, that's not worth it. I've got enough running I need to do and enough other shoes to test. So I was like, nah. If Nike ever does send us this shoe, I will run it. I will take it to its full mileage potential. I will modify and see if I can change my mechanics for it, but just when a shoe that I buy is causing me pain, no. And I would hope that you would understand the same thing, that not all shoes work for everyone. So this is not a bad shoe. I would suggest Nike, if you're gonna make this, you need to cut this down. This is inappropriate. You should not have this. And I know a lot of people are doing this. My suspicion, we've talked about this, is to increase the ground contact time so people are on the ground more, which means ground forces may be spread out, impact forces may be spread out. Whether that's necessarily true or not, we're not sure yet. But this does make for a unpleasant ride in the rear foot. For people that land a little bit more forward, or especially forefoot strikers, you're probably gonna love this shoe if you love soft stuff. So that's a review of the Nike ZoomX Invincible Run. A couple quick comparisons. I actually do have the Nike Vomero 15, which is not out in the United States, and I had to do some work on eBay to get a pair. I have really enjoyed these. There is ZoomX in this midsole. If I remember correctly, it's not fully, but there is ZoomX here. This, to me, while there is a slightly softer ride, it firms up a little bit up front. A lot better fit throughout, much better stability, especially with the way the heel clip is done here. This has done very well for me. I have a good numbers of miles on this, and I'm looking forward to finally finding time to review this shoe. But I think Nike was on a good route with this shoe, which I'm surprised they didn't debut it in the United States, but I think the 16 is probably going to come out, and knowing my luck, I'm probably going to review this, and a week later the 16 is going to come out. So I honestly think the Vomero 15 is a better alternative for a lot of people if they need any kind of stability or want just a more solid shoe that is going to last and fit a larger variety of people. The other comparison that we have asked for a lot, obviously, is the Ultraboost 21. I really did enjoy this shoe, and it's not just because I like Adidas. The fit is, there is width, but the knit is very compressive and definitely gives a closer to foot feel. Some people may or may not like that. I certainly liked it. The ride is very stiff. There is, the torsion system that we've talked about in our full review, which I encourage you to check out. And there's a lot of stability elements here with the sidewalls, with the design of the way this plate transitions you forward. This is a much heavier shoe. So if I remember correctly, it's like several ounces more than the 9.3 ounce for the men's size 9 for the ZoomX Invincible Run. But this runs like a much lighter shoe, where the ZoomX shoe to me runs like a heavier shoe just because of the soft midsole, but that's because my body doesn't do well with this. Even though there's a ton of boost, this shoe actually runs a little bit firmer initially and then breaks in, and I really enjoyed this shoe. So for those people who want a max cushion shoe that's still got a lot of propulsion to it, and I think that's a lot comes from the way this is set up, the Ultraboost 21 is going to be a good option. For those who want a really soft ride and maximize ZoomX, I definitely think you should check this out. I think you should check it out, especially if you land farther forward. Those people who are rear foot strikers may want to be a little bit cautious, but once you break this in, you'll probably be fine, but I'd be curious to hear anybody else in their experiences. So again, this is our video review and return of the ZoomX Invincible Run. The lesson here is that not all shoes work for us. We do buy a lot of the shoes that we do review, and we're gonna give you honest opinions. This shoe didn't work for me. It might work for you, so I encourage you to listen and go, hey, if this fits your mechanics and your mechanics are different than mine, check it out.